through this session today. And this is especially about project management. So I am the program manager of project management in Regenesys. And we take care of upskilling of courses that are very much in demand in the market uh, as of now. So I have a total experience of 25 years into academics and in the corporate. Uh, from past 8 years, I'm with Regenesys handling projects and project management. So I will take you through a quick run of how this program really helps. And with the current AI, which has taken up uh, the whole world, it's a new world order now. And we being as project managers, how we are going to manage this and what are the tools that are needed for managing project management effectively is something that we will be focusing on. So welcome all for this understanding and mastering this modern project management. So I'd like to quickly briefly tell about Regenesys because Regenesys, it's said to be as something that would awaken your potential. So it was founded by Dr. Marco Sarvana, Dr. Penny, and Mr. William Vivian in 98. And the main focus of these visionaries is to make a world a better place and develop conscious world leaders and managers. So we, in whichever course you join, or we do have different fields like the business school, public management, law school, technology school, school of education, now digital Regenesys as well, wherein wherever our approach is to develop any learner holistically. That is like intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, financially, professionally, physically, every sphere. Uh, we would like an individual to be intelligent and how it is utilized. Because if even if you are a very good leader, but if your health is not really good, physically you're not fit, then I'm sure like you would not be able to take the right kind of decisions at the right time. So having focus on all of this is very much necessary for the transformation to happen. And this is where we come in to bring in that awakening about your potential of what you are or what you're capable of doing. So here we are. And to develop this holistically, we have come up with this leadership and management model wherein we believe that as individuals, you and me and everyone who's learning at this point of time, you are the core of every learning or any organization that you belong to. So as an individual, if you are motivated and you are ready to change, then it is like a ripple which get infected to the whole team that you're working with, and the team becomes a high performing team. They become inspirational, that builds a trust, and there's a good bonding that happens. So you have a good team spirit, and with the team spirit when you work, uh, ultimately the institution also would benefit out of it, and they would be able to reach their vision, mission, and goals. So this in turn would affect the external world. It will develop the technology, the competitors, our government, globalization. Things can change. So ultimately, it starts from you and me, and including me, because I, being a part of Regenesys, would like to bring in that transformation, and I would like to uh, uh, share it with all my learners as a team. So to build this, we have certain graduate attributes we always would be referring to, reminding you that it's good that you become innovative, a visionary, being curious about understanding new things and thinking differently, and also need to lead consciously, harness diversity. Every individual is different. So how we are going to harness this diversity by bringing in the synergy of different thought process and collaborating it. So we need leaders, we need to be inspiring, confident, and need to be focused and determined. So this can happen when we embrace or try to consciously change ourselves and trying to bring in that global outlook, wherein being here locally, but being world citizens. So we need to adapt ourselves to that world culture. And any decision that you take should have certain evidence or proof of why you make that statement. So having well informed and being knowledgeable would bring in this metacognitive approach that we can do. And this can happen only when we are committed to research. So as Digital Regenesys, our aim is to first introduce you with introductory courses and then advanced courses. So right now, we are talking about project management, wherein we will have both the basic course and the advanced course. Then we have data science, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, all of the technical uh, uh, qualifications that you may be interested in. You can also inquire about it later. But right now, today, we would talk about project management. And I would like to bring in this ground rules about participating actively. You can start posting in the chat if you have any questions. And for the bandwidth, we have kept the cameras off, but we would like you to be open-minded to understand, be like a sponge and take in as much as possible so that you can once again think and take a decision. So why projects? Projects and why project management? Project management is said to be as a life skill, and it can uh, change over a period of time. In some part of your life, you would be working on projects. They are said to be as the means of uh, handling any projects in the world. But projects are very dynamic in nature. They are a temporary endeavor. It always has a start date and an end date. It has to complete. And within that time span, how can we achieve with the given resources, with the time and the resources, how are we going to achieve the product that we are looking for? So we bring in these attributes of every project being a unique project, because your clients might change, your circumstances might change, your resources would change. So every project would become a unique one. And it is, of course, temporary. As per the PMBOK, it says that it is a temporary endeavor. So with the given resources, how we bring out this unique product is something that we need to understand. So we need to manage them effectively. Projects are dynamic and they are challenging. So we need to manage them. And how are we going to manage it? First of all, we can have this art of organizing, leading, reporting, and completing a project through people. It's people who are very important. And we need to always have a plan for us to work on projects. So the, there is a process, like we have a life cycle, and this life cycle starts with initiation. So at the beginning itself, we try to find out, is this project feasible for us to really work or not? So when we are working on projects, it should be profitable. Otherwise, there is no use at all. So we need to have this planned undertaking about working on the feasibility, whether it will be profitable or not. And can we handle, are the resources available? Is there a possibility to really work on it? Do a market gap analysis and try to bring in the need or the requirement of a project. So for that, we need a good project manager, the one that can cause things to happen. Even if there is a challenge and it's very dynamic, how a project manager. So we look forward for a project manager who can have that kind of qualities, so that we will be able to manage the projects. So as per the PMBOK, this is said to be as a guide, or you can say as a Bible of project management. So this standardizes certain terminology and the concepts and guidelines for the whole project management all over the world. PMBOK is said to be as the reference that is taken because that standardizes having a common library of all the project managers, so that whatever term that we use is understood by even the Chinese, the Russians, the Americans, or anywhere all over the world. So all of these details are documented in this book, and it's really good that you have one of this. And the latest edition is the 7th edition, which is running, and they bring in so many concepts that uh, give us a lot of templates as well to follow how we are going to follow this. So this is said to be as the generally accepted project management knowledge and practice, like GAP. We also for finances, we have for project management also this PMBOK, and it is said to be as a guideline which helps us to depict what our process is and how we are working on it. So basically in projects, as we said, this is said to be as a triangle, and we call it as an iron triangle, wherein projects have to be worked only in certain scope. It cannot go beyond the scope because it is never called as a project if it keeps on running for years and decades together. So they should have a start date and an end date. And within that start and an end date, that is the scope, that are the borders that we have, given the cost, with the given cost and the time and the quality. These are the three constraints that we talk about. We are going to work. Then only then a project can become successful. And as years went by, we realized that apart from this cost, time, scope, and quality, we have one more factor that needs to be understood, that is the stakeholders' expectations. Are the stakeholders happy? So the client needs to be happy. They need to have a wow effect. Nowadays, our clients would look forward for that wow thing that has to be uh, impacted on all projects. So stakeholder satisfaction is also included later, which became a diamond approach later. So overall, in project management, our uh, concern would be about this 9 knowledge areas. So these are the things that we keep addressing when we work on these, any project for that matter. So we have scope management, time management, cost, quality, HR, communications, risk, and procurement management. Then we also would have stakeholder management. So their needs and expectations are to be met. Ultimately, when the product is given, the product should be received by our clients happily, as per their expectations. Otherwise, they would not accept the project, and the project, if it is not accepted, it cannot be a successful project. Ultimately, projects are very expensive. There's a lot of investment which goes in, so it has to have a successful uh, completion, and it has to have a valuable product as well. So a project portfolio is a group of projects together. So simultaneously, we can have around 1 to 10 projects, and all of them, they could be related projects as well. We call them as programs, and those programs together would create one portfolio. So this is the ultimate project management uh, framework that we look in. So in organizations, the key aspect that we look into is about the strategic aspects. Ultimately, every project should lead to the organization's uh, vision, mission, and the goals that have to be achieved. So those key items that we look into, the elements with regard to the strategic thinking and project management, is where is your business currently? It's a question that needs to be asked every time, like we think about taking up a project or how we are doing it. So where do we want to take it, right? taking up a project, where are we going to take this organization to? And what strategy do we need to implement so that we will get there? So projects and strategy go hand in hand. Ultimately, it is about meeting the goals of the organization. So here, these are certain important questions that needs to be asked, like how can project management get us there? When we manage the project effectively and the project is successful, then we are actually meeting the target of the organization. Apart from the project, it is about the organization as well. And when they meet, they are going to the next level. So there should be, for doing this, there should be a strategy also included. So as I was talking, project management life cycle is uh, the whole, every project will have this life cycle, starting from the initiation stage, then planning, execution, control, and closure. So throughout all of these, there is monitoring, wherein it is being monitored right from the initiation stage until the closure, whether it is going along with the parameters that have been defined, or uh, how we are going to manage it. So to begin with, in initiation, as I said, like at the beginning, we try to define what the project directions are, what are their objectives, who the stakeholders are. We're going to identify them, and what are their expectations, and how are we going to plan for a team. Then who is going to be responsible. So all of this at the beginning, at the initiation stage itself, we are going to drive through. And so we start preparing the charter. The project charter is a document which holds all the records of every agreement that is done during the project. Then we also identify the stakeholders and then bring in an assessment, like who can do what. Are they really needed, or can they be moved to another responsibility, or do we need more? So there is an assessment that we do, and then accordingly, it could be clients, it could be employees, it could be assistants, or whatever. Every stakeholder would be addressed. Then we also have the tool which is called as RASI. This is a RASI matrix, which talks about who would be responsible, accountable, whom have to be contacted, whom have to be informed. So there is a matrix that we built. And in that matrix, we identify the people who are going to do different jobs. And then whoever comes from the project, a clear understanding of to whom has to be reported would be given. And also communication tool, wherein we build up the pattern, or the uh, when we are going to uh, address the stakeholders. So there is a schedule. How are we going to do it? Are we going to call them, or are you going to send an email? So what are we going to do? Communicate through WhatsApp? We need to clearly specify on the communication part as well. So at the initiation stage, we develop this business case. And in this business case, we talk about trying to convince about why we are going to take up the project. What is the complexity of the project? What is the value of the project? And how many projects are needed to complete one bigger project, that is one portfolio. So determining and understanding what could be the purpose and how much value would give us an understanding of taking a decision of uh, to go ahead with this planning and then execution. So once this is cleared, we move on to the planning, and the tools that we use at the planning would be the scope document or the work breakdown structure, then schedule document, budgets, risk, and quality. So these are certain major aspects that needs to be supported and helped. So who is required to do the certain jobs? Everything has to be identified at the planning stage. How much does this cost? What are the obstacles that it might have? So once it is well planned, then it is implemented or it is executed. So during execution, you might have certain issues of resources coming in late, or maybe having skills that are not relevant. So there is issues management which has to be maintained, and the status report of where it is happening, and if there are any change requests that can be done, and that will happen only during the execution stage. So any related aspects ultimately would be at the execution stage, which is execution is said to be as the longest period, because we are all working towards that completion of the project. So ultimately the last one is scope, and here the tools that we use is the transition plan, the lessons learned, and the closeout. So ultimately closure should be there. It doesn't mean that it is almost done, so I can just leave and we move on to the next project. But until and unless it is closed properly, it cannot be said to be as done. So this is the life cycle, and let's look into the tools. There is a short video, but I'm skipping it because of challenge of time. But then in case if we have time later, I would definitely come back and play that video. But to manage these projects, there needs to be some support, some help on how we can manage it within that time. So the following list of tools would be used here in project management. That is the Gantt chart, the work breakdown structure, project network diagrams, then Kanban boards, risk matrix, timesheets, project dashboards, project reports, CPM and PERT, all the reporting, all of them. So these are certain tools which enable the projects to run smoothly. So everything has its own importance, and without any of these tools, it's very difficult or almost impossible for the projects to run. So before getting into the Gantt chart, let's look into the work breakdown structure. Here, this is an example where when we talk about work breakdown structure, it is about dividing one particular responsibility to many smaller jobs, so that our work packages that we call these work packages, when they are done, then it can be completed. So basically here I have given a basic overview about how a work breakdown structure would be, wherein it starts with initiation, planning, execution, control, and closeout. So under this, now we are going to divide them, because if it is initiation, now who is responsible and how he or she can do it. So we need assistance. So when we need that, at the initial stage, it would be only evaluation and charter that needs to be worked. So it's fine. But when it comes to planning, there's a huge plan perspectives that needs to change. So here during planning, we talk about scope statement, project teams, and then plan schedule. And when coming to execution, laying of stones, excavation, pourings, concrete, all of this, especially for a construction industry. And then the final, that is the execution part. Controlling is something where during this execution, sometimes the funds may go overboard, or some challenges that they were not able to get connected. So here, all of this can be controlled and managed. This is said to be as the fourth stage in the project management. So it helps in managing the resources, the costs, and the risks. All where are in control. And then the closeout. In closeout, we have this audit, site cleanup, and the document handover. So these are certain responsibilities that are done in every project life cycle. So the next one, the first one that I have shown you was a work breakdown structure. And based on that work breakdown structure, we can build this Gantt chart. And this is how the Gantt chart looks. So it has activities, a start date, the duration, and the end date. So in the start and end date, however, whoever is responsible for everything has to be noted, and it is reflected on the graph. And when the other job started, then when is the other job started. So it is a pictorial representation of how a particular project can be planned. And the other tool that we look into is a network diagram. This is also very uh, popular or famous tool that is used by every project manager. So it is a network. It's just shows up like a graphical diagram, wherein it has certain arrows and nodes, and tries to bring in a logical sequence of different parts of that different tasks that would be performed, and then the project objective is achieved. So this network is a very powerful tool which gives in a very exact, uh, a very precise uh, workflow, which helps in understanding what could be the critical path and calculating the PERT and the CPM, so which we would be doing in our classroom. And then the other tool that can be very easily used is Kanban. It's a visual method, and it also helps in managing the workflow for a particular industry or organization, team, or any organizational level. So here Kanban means nothing but a visual card. And you see in this Kanban, you see the backlog, the ones currently we are doing, then reviewing, and then it is done. So this is also found to be very effective one, the Kanban board, for any organization or a team wherein they work, and their work has to be recorded and visible to the clients. Then the other tool that is also used very effectively is risk analysis. In this risk analysis, we analyze people, how much of risk are they eligible or they can handle. If the impact is too high and likelihood of, of an action happening or not is also very high. So it's good that we are able to give the right kind of solution, or they need to be careful because the impact is high and the likelihood is also very high. So they need to be careful. And the one which the impact is less, but uh, it is high, the likelihood of it happening is high, then still we have to keep praying, and at the same time try to see that there is an impact in it. Then when impact is low and the livelihood is also low, that means that it doesn't have any interest in pursuing. So it needs to be really taken into account. Then the fourth situation is when the impact is really high, but the likelihood is low. So in this way, by measuring these factors, need to uh, analyze the risk effectively. So as I was talking about monitoring runs right through the whole project life cycle. So the project monitoring and reporting, both of them would enable the project to run successfully. So everything has to be reported. Everything has to be documented. It has to go into the archive. Uh, and so need to understand how this project can be monitored by these resources. So while we are talking about project management, we try to set up the objectives, choose the tools, analyze the data, then take the decision, share the progress, monitor in real time, improve, adapt, and engage stakeholders. So these are some characteristics that we need to understand uh, when when whenever this project management or the monitoring is done. So the other tool that we use in project management is stakeholder management. As stakeholders, it can be divided into internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. So they can uh, influence the project sometimes quite impactfully, or sometimes it can be, it need not have, it cannot be very uh, impactful. So understanding how our resources can be utilized through this stakeholder is something that we need to work on. So project managers are analyzed in this by, again, preparing a grip and how powerful they are and what are their interests. Based on that, we work on the project management tool as well. So this is also adapted by uh, PMBOK, and it helps in streamlining the stakeholders in the right way. So ultimately, when every team, when they join, we have again a life cycle for the team performance, for the team maintenance. So we call it as a Tuckman's model of 5 stages, wherein it starts with forming. Then initially, as they form, uh, whether she would be able to uh, form it correctly, whether the team is growing strong. At the beginning, all the team members would like to show off their skills. So that brings in the storming. But over a period of time now, they want to show how expertise they are, what their value is, another thing. And they do not really focus on the organizational development, but the self. And then everybody, since they are thinking in different ways, then it is said to be at the storming stage. And then slowly after storming, they realize that if we are fighting like this, ultimately we are not going to complete the project. Giving some time for the other person to discuss and then go ahead. So that is the time when it is norming stage. And once the norming is done and they get into performing stage, then it's about uh, maybe the numbers and the graphs and all of those that needs to be looked into, and ultimately the project has to be adjourned. So every project will have an end date. That means it has to complete. So it has to adjourn. Even if the project is the suppliers or the clients can be two different on two different projects, still all of this have to be uh, managed in all of the situations. So this we would explain in detail in the sessions that we go ahead. So for now, this Tuckman's model of 5 stages would be forming, storming, performing, norming, and adjourning. Here we come to a very interesting tool in project management, that is Agile. These are called as methodologies, in fact. Agile methodology and Waterfall methodology. So Waterfall is a traditional approach, and it has more planning at the beginning. But over a period of time, when the changes happen, they wouldn't want to risk it. So at the same time, also a few of them would try to see how this sequence can be broken or superseded later. But it's good that most of the government projects and the big projects, they start with Waterfall and then they move into Agile. Agile is a condition where there is a lot of changes that happen. And when these changes happen, the agile methodology will help to see that it is embraced easily. So it's a continuous cycle, and uh, there are different methods that can be used to uh, work in the agile developing. And when we call about agile, there is a lot of customer service included as well. So there is a process for it. Even agile has a process about requiring elements, then having a plan, then design, develop, release, track, and monitor, and we are done. So when we are monitoring, everything would uh, have to be in place. So these are the two methodologies that we will also discuss in the program. So when we have taken a survey, a small survey on project management software, uh, we have seen that around there's a high impact in project management, wherein 23% of the organizations actually use this supplement software, the project management software. And 77% of the high performing projects, they use project management software. So moving from one to another, and when we move, there should be a sync between the scope, resources, time, and money. So all of these would work in sync, so that we are going to implement certain high impactful project software. So to choose any of this software, there are many softwares that are available in the system. And in this, we have a desktop program, then mobile application, web-based program, visual tools, silver user programmable systems, personal applications. So there are many types of software, and according to the need of uh, everyone, the software would be chosen. So how are we going to choose the right choice of project management? Here are 5 tips that we can choose for implementing them. So first one is easy to use. It should not be time consuming and to keep working on. And then it makes easy to manage tasks. All the tasks, when the software comes in, there are many tasks that can be moved on to the technology or the software. Then we have effective team communications, visual dashboards, and user interface. So all of these, when we handle them, it could help us to choose what kind of software that we are looking at. So here are a few tools that I would like to discuss. Because of challenge of time, I'm actually going ahead and telling about many tools that would be effective. And we are going to look forward for these frameworks and uh, tools that help in building a strong project management software. So one of this is Asana, and it's a very user friendly, and it can be accessed from everywhere, wherever we are. So all we need to do is on the same page that allows to change. So we can create and edit and then help. So here the templates and the speed are much faster. So it's very easy to learn. So you can go to Asana Academy and also work in some tutorials. The online tutorials are also available, which can help in mastering that program. And there are other operational considerations, that is by using mobile phone, customizing the interface. So this also can be challenging, but it is also very useful when it is used in the right way. And here it helps in the easy task tracking and then how the resources can be managed and how the collaboration uh, can be effective. So Asana is one of the tool that can be used. So below I have shown certain pictures of how to create colorful Asana dashboard, and then keep trying them. Then it does have certain shortcomings. It has many features, more effort for new project manager, and speed and performance problems. So ultimately, who are being benefited out of it is only the online support aspects. So there are many problems also involved in online. Then comes the Basecamp. This is another tool, or you can also call it as a software that has been introduced. And even this is British decided project dedicated dashboard, which reflects only about the project, and it can be accessed from anywhere. Very easy to learn, but however, we need to have online technical support, and then would bring in that innovative blogs and tutorials. So other aspects is about how we can use on the mobile, and they can also have or there is no user price model also available. So for Basecamp, how we are going to functionalize it, it's about easy tracking, and then sending reminders, and usually user-friendly collaboration, like the campfire. The chat rooms can have that campfire and other aspects. So this is about Basecamp with shortcomings as it is, wherein they're unable to communicate properly. So and they are not really open to everything as it comes, but the security would stop and check for the details of the camp. Then we have Jira software. Here, this is a very effective software, and we would be handling it in one of those programs wherein we will take you through, we will handhold you and take you through these programs. So we have wonderful staff who can help, the software staff who would support and help. So Jira software can be acquired by certified training programs, and it belongs to the Atlassian University, and online support is throughout 24/7. So this is also very easy and to customize, and also can be accessed from anywhere. It also has certain shortcomings, not really user friendly, and it's very difficult to navigate, very hard to learn, and a little higher than that which we spoke earlier about Asana and Basecamp. This would be little uh, difficult, but users must learn to receive, and then would be able to see or can discuss on this security problem or the complex integrations. So what functionality does it has? No time expense tracking, no resource management feature, limited size document, and all of this are certain shortcomings for Jira as well. Then we have Trello with the same thing. They're platforms you can download and start exploring and work on these platforms. Even Trello has certain shortfallings, like the browsers are crowded and cluttered. And since it is like that, maybe the security one will have problem. Then the integration is also very limited. So these are certain things that are affected. And even before you think of a software, you have to think about all of these choices. Then we have got right Again, it's user-friendly, very easy to navigate and can access anywhere. And it also has a shortage of tracking tasks and one at a time. Then we have these shortcomings where we were able to sometimes these designs create a gap, and that this right is about how to bring up this user friendly and aesthetic design back into the design. So these are certain shortcomings of Reich as well. A very famous and an interesting one here is the Microsoft project, which is MPP. This is a software that is developed and sold by the Microsoft, wherein it helps, according to the project manager would plan, assign resources, track progress, managing budget, and many other things that can be worked out in the MPP software. So we have certain file extensions of the project like the star.mpp or anything. Then we would be able to transact more easily. So this is MPP, which is a famous one. And also it helps in handling many projects. So all of these tools would be discussed in detail in the classes that you are going to enroll, and see how dynamically this project management program will transform. There are many alumni who keep updating or upgrading the performance of Regenesys, and this is where they are the real ambassadors. So they try to see that all of these are part of the program, and then you're benefited out of it. So every project has to be closed. We said initiation to begin with talks about feasibility study and how feasible are we to start up an organization. Is it necessary? Do we have resources? So all of these questions would have to be considered. So later on, it is about implementation, and then it is about controlling, how we are monitoring and controlling the project. And in the end, it would be the closure. Ultimately, the project has to be closed. Any project which is not closed is not said to be as completed. It always is negatively impacted. So closure steps are very important. Here we start with a plan and we update it. And later on, we archive those documents. And even with regard to the legal, any cases that are pending, or even closure of the bank's loan, whatsoever, everything has to be completely closed. So until then, the project cannot be said as completed or done. So the administrative closures also have to be done. Then the team appraisals need to be done. Most of the managers usually do not have time by the time they come to the end of the project. They are looking forward for the next project. Now, all the people that have been working for him or her are not a priority anymore, but the new project. So that is where the team would not have that positive motivation that they can work together. So building up a positive team closure is the next step that needs to be followed, and any corrective changes that needs to be done can also be done. And ultimately, every team member should be able to uh, help in seeing that all of these are achieved. So ultimately, the project manager would present it to the sponsors, and they are said to be as the end users, so they whether they like it or whether there are changes needed, or any suggestions that have to be done would be done by the sponsor here. So it is a sign-off document, and if everything is in tune, then we go ahead and complete the project. So this is the project closure steps. So with this, we have come to the end of the session. And if you have any questions, you can take this time. We have around 8 minutes. Anything? Otherwise, as promised, we will go back and look into the project life cycle that we discussed. Any questions that you have? So yeah, if you can leave your details as you have joined, you can definitely get this slide. The copy of this slides would be given to you. Yeah, so many of you are asking for presentation. That would definitely be shared with you. So leave your email address, whoever has joined, do leave your email address or your phone number, and this presentation would be shared by you. Okay, Anneli Ferry here is asking a question of what is the relationship between Waterfall and Agile. So these are two methodologies. One is said to be as predictive method, and the other one is the Agile method. So initially, when at the beginning, when the project is planned, the projects run as per the plan, like uh, taking the resources. This is the plan, and everything without much changes is uh, worked on until the end of the project. So we have waterfall is a sequential. If you see the sequence, like the work would be, or the assignments would be done one at a time. So here it is sequential. So we are working here. Sorry. Yeah. In this waterfall, after the requirements is done, then there is design. After design implementation, then verification, and then maintenance. So there is a waterfall. It's step 1, step 2, step 3. They are stepwise. But in the present dynamic world, we see that there are a lot of changes that happen. So for any project, uh, there there could be many changes that might happen in spite of planning. So in this, it is in this traditional waterfall method, it is difficult for us. It will become a little more expensive when the design changes, or at the implementation stage, we need to change certain process. So in the now the dynamic world, Agile is said to be as another methodology wherein we use, and every team is self-made. So they are ready. They right from the beginning, they know that there would be changes in the projects that might come up. So the client requirement may be changing. So when it keeps changing, uh, we should be able to manage it without much changes, or without impacting much on the cost and the time. So we would be prepared. So here in Agile, we work on sprints. Okay, and sprint is a small activity which will be for say 2 or 3 weeks. And once that activity is done, then we move on to the next activity, that is the next sprint. And that sprint would be for 2 or 3 weeks once again, and then we move. So sprint wise, when we are doing, we are completing the job effectively in shorter span of time. So in between these sprints, if there is a change that is asked for, then it is much easier to include in it. So that is the reason we adapt to Agile methodology, and it's a continuous cycle. So the teams are also very high performing, and they are collaborative. So they can accept the change very easily without affecting much. So this is the difference between waterfall and agile methodology. So yeah. So Anili, I think I have answered your question. If you still have any questions or you're clear, then you can respond in the chat. Thank you. Many of you all are leaving your email addresses. Appreciate everyone for that. So Ebi Kenbana was asking for expand on the CPM. CPM is nothing but critical path method. Now we will all be discussing it in the program, in the project management program in detail. But however, to answer your question, now it is the network that we looked into, right? In that network diagram, there are certain jobs that are very important and that are very crucial for completion of the project. So there is no gap between any project. So the longest path covering all these functions and then coming to the end, we create a critical path, that is the longest path, which takes for completing the project. So if we build on this network and we have 2 or 3 ways of completing the project, but all of them are not addressed, then they will not come under the critical path. So we will calculate that longest period of time and then say, yes, the project can be completed in, say, 25 days. So we are identifying that longest period of the different activities that have to be performed for completion of the project. Okay. Hope that helps. All right. So Gonzaga has a question wherein he's asking about what PM framework or tool would you recommend for community engaging projects? So the best framework that it is a combination, we call it as a hybrid methodology, wherein we combine in when it is community engaging projects or complex projects, we start with the plan. We start with its waterfall, and during implementation, when we are working, then we move on to the agile methodology. So that is said to be as a hybrid methodology that would help in keeping the project in track. Okay. So Wallace has a question. How do I choose or help my organization choose which of the project management tools that bring together all necessary features? Okay, so for this, Wallace, it's a very comprehensive method to really talk about how many project management tools that we can bring in, because there are many tools like fishbone analysis, 5Y, uh, uh, cost benefit analysis. So every stage will have different tools that we use. So that could be a combination of all many tools that we have to use for seeing that the project management can be done effectively. So it depends on different projects at different stages as it keeps changing. And Mohammed says he was a project manager in the oil and gas company, upgrading the tank storage terminal. Everything was handled by CEO, especially in terms of financing, which distorted the project. Secondly, we have a contractor who until now didn't provide some materials. Do I have a fault here? Projects have been going on for 3 years and it was supposed to take 5 months. So this project is definitely a challenged project, Mohammed, because what was supposed to be done in 5 months, if it is taking 3 years, then it will not have any effective result. But as project manager, if you have to take the responsibility, you need to bring in a stop and rework on the project to understand where the challenge is, and delegating the work to everyone is the best way to handle the project. Only one person really cannot work on the project, because you have a team. A project team would work together and see that the project is done. That is the reason we use this WBS, wherein we assign two different people to work on it. So as project manager, you need to put your uh, foot down and rework, have to communicate with your stakeholders, and rework on the timelines and see that the project is completed on time. Yeah. So Mumsi says, so just for my understanding, artificial intelligence is all about of course, well, artificial intelligence is something that we can include in project management as well, to see that we manage the project uh, effectively. But we just cannot say that we are going to artificial intelligence is not completely project management, however. So Edisina has a question like, is project management different from uh, product management? Of course, it is different. And product is, we are only managing just one of those uh, products, but project can be a bigger one. And one of those activity that the product ultimately that is given is just about the product. But then when we are managing the product, we will not have many challenges, where the project will have a lot of challenges of handling uh, many activities. And project management need not have to be a temporary endeavor, nor can it definitely not have to be done within a time span. It is a continuous one. But for projects, they are temporary endeavors, and it has to be completed within the time frame. So Makumba has a question. What project management method or tool can be used for an organization working also as an enterprise? As I answered previously, it is not one specific method, but according to whatever is done, uh, like every phase will have different methods and tools that have to be utilized. So according to the use, or according to the need of which stage are we in, the tools can be utilized. Like we were saying, at the initiation stage, we work on root cause analysis and to identify why they are. And at the implementation stage, we may have to use the risk analysis, the stakeholder analysis, the RASI, and other aspects. So different tools will be used at different initiation. So whatever is the enterprise or whatever is the organization, we would do it. And if there is a continuous or changes in the requirements of the stakeholders, then we would look forward for an agile methodology as well. Yeah. So the softwares can, for the answer for Tafadzwa about dam maintenance and block construction that are running concurrently. Software definitely can be one software, but then both can be different aspects, and they have to be maintained separately, the dam maintenance and the block construction. So it could be two parameters based on which you can work. So you can uh, tailor the software in such a way that both of them can be managed together. Yeah, there is a possibility, definitely. Then what impact will AI have on project management tools and software? Well, AI has brought in a lot of changes, and the tools are being used more effectively. The software is being used more effectively because of various resources that are available to take very conscious uh, decisions. So for a project manager, AI is definitely going to be helpful to manage these tools effectively. All right. So a few questions. Let me handle one last question for today, and maybe uh, you can. I will leave my email address, which is sheilas@regenesys.net. You all can definitely post in your questions, and I can answer it later. So Adnan is asking. Okay, I'm sorry. This admin will take care of it. And Ibrahim's question. Uh, Thank you for the wonderful. We really appreciate. My question is that agile methodologies, can it be applied in humanitarian space as well? So, Ibrahim, as I have mentioned, uh, it depends upon how uh, dynamic or how turbulent the project is. So, the projects which do not have much change can rely on waterfall methodology. But when it comes to agile methodology, it is very convenient because here the project managers are, or the team members who are working on projects are very dynamic. They are self-made. So they try to solve them as quickly as possible. So any changes that happen in that space can be addressed very easily. So their framework is right from the beginning to accept change and see that they manage the change. So definitely agile methodology can be applied in this humanitarian space as well. Ideal one, if you would like to, you can go for hybrid methodology wherein it both of them can be utilized. Okay. So thank you for your time. And yeah, any more questions, you can actually put it across through my email, or you can get through the admission team and they will help you out. So my email address is sheilas@regenesys.net. That would give you a better space and better time for me to really take you through all of them. So thank you for your time and thank you for being here. And I hope to see you all in our classes because they are very impactful and we have a lot of alumni management course. They were able to get better uh, pay packages, better jobs, and they are really enjoying their new transformation that happened during this sessions. And take care. Have a wonderful day. Bye.